Hey everyone, so guess whose car I'm driving? Yeah, it's Matt Marinowski's car from the channel, the Subaruwrxfan channel. We're doing a car swap today, which is cool. He's driving my M4 and reviewing that, and I'm reviewing his Mustang. It's a 2015 Mustang. He's just got it, and my initial impressions are that I'm pretty impressed with it. You know, it's a really lovely car. Ford have really stepped up their game with this car. It's the EcoBoost model, the 4-cylinder turbocharged, which I know a lot of people will go, it's sacrilege, they're putting a 4-cylinder back in the Mustang like they did in the old days. But you know, right off the bat, I'm going to say, if I was buying a Mustang and I couldn't afford the GT, which is obviously the one you want to go for, that lovely V8 sound and power, if you couldn't afford the GT, then I would go with the EcoBoost, honestly. Just because of that extra power, that extra torque. I've driven the previous generation 300 odd horsepower V6, and it's nice, but it's lacking the torque to get such a heavy car moving. Whereas this car, you know, lovely amount of torque, and the engine sound isn't too bad. You know, you hear a little bit of 4-cylinder clack. If I slow right down here, just at an idle, you hear a little bit of click 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 from the 4-cylinder. But once you get going, once you get out on the open road, you'll see it's got a lovely rumbling sound, and it's got a lot of, you know, turbo boost push torque in your back. So it's a fun car to drive. As I said, go for the EcoBoost if you're having trouble deciding between the two. I think you'll enjoy the torque. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull over somewhere up here, and we'll have a quick look at the interior, and then I'll take it out. We'll take a look at the interior, and then we'll have a quick look around the exterior, and then we'll take it out on the open road and give it a good beating. Okay, so the interior, you know, it's this is the premium model, I believe. And so you get a few extra toys, which is nice. He's got the electric seats and bits and pieces. I'm not a Mustang expert, so I'm not going to tell you what you do and don't get with the premium. But from just a first drive perspective, you know, I'm going to say that the interior is a very comfortable place to be. And what I mean by that is that previous Mustangs I've not been comfortable in. I'm 6 foot tall, and I've always had a little bit of trouble with some of the headrooms in some of them, but mostly I've had trouble with leg room, where my knee hits the shelf here, and it's been uncomfortable in a lot of previous models. Whereas this one nicely slopes away, and it's comfortable from that point of view. And the seats are very comfortable. I'll talk a little bit about the leather later on, but you know, it's got nicely bolstered seats. It's very comfortable for a slightly chubby but not too fat guy like myself. Yeah, perfectly comfortable. Very nice sitting position. And if we look at the console and looking from left to right, you know, there's a bit of leather on the door here, hard plastics around here, hard plastics around here. But otherwise, you know, this is a nicely put together car. Steering wheel's got nice leather on it. The leather is interesting. It's sort of a midpoint. If anyone's familiar with the leather in a standard BMW, which is quite hard, and then the leather in my car, which is an M series leather, which is very soft, this is sort of midpoint. It's a nice feel to the leather. The steering wheel has a million buttons on it. The only one I've actually played with is this button here, which I'm very jealous about. I'm very jealous that the M4 doesn't have all these cool gadgets. He's got it set to the boost vacuum gauge, which I'll show you when we're driving along. But yeah, it's very, very configurable. Cylinder head temperature, inlet air temperature. I've always wanted to know the inlet air temperature. Oil temperature, of course, voltage, and air fuel ratio. This really is an aircraft. Although it does have a speedo that says ground speed, so maybe it's not an aircraft. Maybe we'll when we take it for a drive, we'll get it airborne, and then we can see whether it still shows the speed when it's off the ground. But yeah, it's pretty cool interior, and you can configure the lights to be any color you like, and it's highly configurable generally, which is what car manufacturers should be doing now. They should be allowing the owner to configure the car to be however they like, whatever bad taste option you want to have set. You want your lights all pink and flashing, you should be allowed to do that if you want to do that. Moving over to the main console, it's standard Ford fare, the Ford Sync system, which you see in all the Fords, which is fine. It's a nice system to use, and it duplicates a lot of the buttons. You know, right here you can see that I've got the I can do the heated seats there, or I can do the heated seats with the button. And there's another feature that I'm a little jealous of, because you can't get this in the M4 either, is the vented AC seats. Very nice. And then you've got all the switches down the bottom here, which are also they've got a nice feel to them. Hazard lights, traction control. And the steering feel really does make a big difference, much bigger than in my car. If you switch between sport, which makes it very heavy, and comfort, which makes it so light you can turn it with your finger, yeah, it makes a big difference. And then of course the mode button, which is the driving mode button, sport, track, and snow wet for taking off nice and gently, or stick it back into normal. I'll fiddle a bit more with that when we take it for a spin on the open road. And of course down here, and I'll talk a little bit more about this when I'm driving, this is a manual, and I love this gear selector. It is a beautiful car to drive from as a manual. It's a nice click into gear, nice short throw. I haven't missed too many gears yet. On the other hand, however, I'm still getting used to the clutch. The clutch is a funny one. The clutch is light, but it's got a funny feel to it, in that it's really, really light at the bottom of the travel and a little heavier at the top. So as you're letting the clutch off, it suddenly gets stiffer and harder and pops up. And well, I think, you know, my manual driving skills are a little bit questionable to start with, but in this car I've had a bit of jerkiness between first and second gear, so yeah, when I'm driving you'll be able to see me messing that up. But otherwise, yeah, the clutch is still fairly light and just takes a little bit of getting used to, but yeah, the gear's lovely and notchy, and you can find the gear, and it's a lovely short throw. So as a manual, really a beautiful car to drive. Otherwise, yeah, it's a nice enough interior. It's certainly very impressive how well they've put it together. And of course, it's got a proper handbrake. We love cars with a proper handbrake. Porsche, yes. So yeah, it's a really lovely interior. I would be happy to take long journeys in this car, that's for sure. Okay, so continuing our journey in the interior, I'm going to try and get in the back seats. Not really designed for someone that's 6 foot, although sometimes I'm taller than 6 foot. Depending on which shoes I'm wearing, I could be 6'1". How are you doing back there, William? I think if you're a medium-sized stuffed gorilla, the back seats are very comfortable. But as a 6 foot tall man, the seats are pretty much unusable back here. You can get my knees in just, but yeah, I wouldn't want to travel too far with my neck craned like this. I'd end up like Quasimodo by the end of the journey. So yeah, the back seats are not really usable for a full size, you know, over sort of probably 5'6", maybe 5'5" might fit in the back here. But yeah, for the rest of us, no. Just gorillas, eh, William? You can fit back here. You're perfectly comfortable. Otherwise, yeah, interestingly, you got this little thing here which moves the seats, so that's pretty cool. But then the belt is locked in there, so you gotta do a bit of a trapeze act to get out again. Yep. So that's the back seats. Nothing much else to report about the rear seats. Okay, so moving on to the outside of the car. You know, I like the look of this new Mustang, and I like the color that Matt's chosen. I like this. I guess it's a deep olive color. I'm a bit jealous. I'd like a green car myself for my next car. So yep, I'd love to get a green car as well. So a little jealous that Matt's got a green car. But yeah, from the outside, seeing it in real life for the first time, the only thing that struck me was the size of the headlights. They're a little smaller than the previous model, so I would have liked the headlights to be a bit bigger, but otherwise it's a handsome beast from the outside with, you know, it's very angular, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's got very sharp angles on it, which is nice. It's a little bit like a stealth fighter, if you ask me. The other thing that carries over from the previous model is the nifty flashing indicator lights on the back. And if you get up close enough to those indicator lights, you can actually hear them making a noise because they're neon lights, so they're making a little chirp noise at you. Matt's got 17-inch wheels on this model. I think it would look, it would fill in those arches a little bit more if you got the bigger size wheels, but still looks fine with these wheels. Otherwise, yeah, the outside's, it's a good looking car, it really is. You know, Ford have stuck with the retro but still made it a little bit more modern, which is a good balance, I think. Okay, let's get it out on the road and take it for a bit of a spin, see how badly I do with changing gears. My biggest problem is this gear change. First to second is it's a bit roughneck, but yeah, other than that, after second I'm all good. Smooth as silk through third and fourth. Oh, school bus. Nothing worse, nothing ruins a car review more than killing a child. I can tell you right now, it just throws you off for the rest of the day. So we'll just drive slowly around those guys and we'll sneak down here. Okay, let's give it the beans. See, sounds pretty cool. It's got plenty of power as well. That boosted torque that you get there really sort of pushes you back in your seat. So even though it's a pretty heavy car, it's got plenty of power for the size of it. So it's a nice car to drive, and boy, the handling's good as well. I think my driving is the only problem here. Yeah, really a lovely car to drive in a spirited manner, that's for sure. So what else can I say? Oh, the stereo. So because he's got the premium, he gets the shaker subwoofer in the trunk there, which is very nice. But what I've noticed is, you know, all the sound comes from the front of the car. There doesn't appear to be any speakers in the back. So apart from the bass from the subwoofer in the back, all the sound is coming from, you know, I can count 6, but there's probably a lot more speakers on the front here. So I don't know whether he's got the sound adjusted just to the front, but I think they seem to put all the speakers in the front, so that takes a bit of getting used to, I guess. But yeah, it's a lovely sounding stereo otherwise. It's got plenty of bass and plenty of treble, so yeah, nice stereo. So that pretty much wraps it up. You know, I hope you guys have enjoyed that. You know, swapping cars with another YouTuber is kind of fun. I'll try and do that again with other YouTubers. Certainly I've enjoyed driving this Mustang. It kind of makes me want to get a manual next time, but I'm thinking about getting a Golf, a new Golf, and if I get the new Golf, I'll certainly get a manual in the new Golf. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to drive this Mustang, and I appreciate Matt letting me drive his car. And I'll be curious to see the review he does on my car, as I'm sure he's curious to see the review I do on this. Hopefully we find a few points that we haven't said in our own reviews of our own cars. But yeah, a lot of fun driving this Mustang. Anyone thinking about getting a Mustang, I can highly recommend it. They truly have stepped up their game forward, and it's a pretty damn nice car these days. Certainly has more than enough toys to keep me happy, and well, I'll be curious to drive the V8 at some point. I think people will be happy, as I said before. I think people will be happy with this this EcoBoost engine. It's a pretty sweet engine. So yep, that's me. I'm going to head back to Connecticut now, and thanks for watching, everyone. Bye then.